Welcome, everybody, to Tales with Twins.
Hello, hello, once again.
We are happy to be here again, like Paige said, for one more week of just weird shit.
Yes, and this is a weird one. This one's
Okay.
fucking wild.
I'm excited.
So wild that, attention everyone, this is our very, very first two-parter.
Woo!
So, there was so much on this topic. Sorry, that's my little one yelling again. She likes to sing herself to sleep.
It's very independent of her.
So sometimes you might hear her singing to herself, and I'm really sorry. Anyway, so my topic this week is a cult, and there was just so much stuff. This is the wildest shit I've ever come across in my life. Not really, but maybe. But anyway, there was just so much stuff that there was no way we could fit it in one episode. So this one, I'm going to be doing the hosting this week and next week. So you guys get me for 2 episodes in a row.
Woo!
So I'm sorry if you prefer Jillian's voice over mine, because I don't blame you, but
it's because I had my tonsils out.
It is what it is. My notes are 13 pages long. So, and just for reference, we normally shoot for like 4.
Yeah, 4 or 5. I've done a couple that were like 6, 7, I think.
Yeah.
But those were long ones. Like DIA, I think, was 6 pages.
Yeah, and it was real long. And this one, I mean, unless everyone wants a 5-hour episode, it's not going to be that long. But, you know, this is how it's going to be. So I'm going to leave you guys in the middle of this, and it's going to be a cliffhanger.
Ooh, that sounds thrilling.
But first, what are you drinking?
Oh, first, let's see here. I thought this was kind of like a hark back to a joke that we had a few episodes ago. I have hot cocoa and vodka.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
sounds delicious.
I know. Oh, that's our brother Kyle, by the way.
Oh yeah, we forgot to introduce Kyle. Sorry.
Well, we didn't introduce ourselves either. So
yeah,
Kyle,
you didn't do that either.
Yeah.
You guys are getting all forgetful.
Well, that's Kyle. You get to know him first. I'm Jillian. My co-host is my twin sister over there, Paige.
Yes, and Kyle's our sound guy, and he pops in and out every once in a while. But generally speaking, you get Jillian and I.
Yeah. But yes, anyway, it's really funny. It's January right now. Shit just hit the fan in Washington, in case you're wondering about which time we are recording this.
Because we do record these in advance.
Yes, like kind of a lot in advance so far. Anyway, it's January right now, and I decided very suddenly that I was craving hot chocolate. And so I went and got some hot cocoa. And my husband, Jeremy, he doesn't love chocolate. That's not really his favorite thing.
You should rephrase that. He hates chocolate.
I wouldn't say he hates it, but yes, he really doesn't.
Love does not describe how he feels about chocolate.
Dislikes it with a passion.
Yes.
Well, and it's one of those things where it's like he likes Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh,
because it's mostly peanut butter, like 90% peanut butter, 10% chocolate, and it's milk chocolate, so it's a very easy chocolate.
Yeah, those are my favorite candies.
They're so good, and he likes them in small doses, but in general, yes, he does not like chocolate. So, but I got this hot chocolate, and I was just like, oh my gosh, honey, I'm so excited to get home and try it. So I made it, did the whole thing. I forgot to put cinnamon in my cup tonight, though, because that's the trick, is putting a little bit of cinnamon in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did forget to do that, so I might have to go do that. But anyway, I put it all together. I was sipping on it. I was like halfway through, and he leaned forward, grabbed my cup, and just tasted it. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to hate this. And he looked at me, and he was like, that was really good.
What?
I know. So we're making progress.
Yeah, Jeremy made large strides of progress tonight with hot chocolate.
Yes, he really, now he's like, well, and he even went grocery shopping like right before this, and he came home with more hot chocolate, and he was like, there's only one packet left and I wanted it, so I went and got some more.
Oh,
I
that's
know.
hilarious.
It's so funny. Well, and he got marshmallows too. Like he's like all in with the hot chocolate now, which is really funny. It's just hilarious.
Oh,
Well, and people all the
cute.
time are like, how are you still married to somebody that doesn't like hot chocolate? And it's like, well, first of all, fuck you. I love my husband more than chocolate. So that is my answer to you. So don't question me about my motives, okay? Hot chocolate is not as good as my husband, so.
Obviously, they're kidding.
I know. Well, it's always like, oh, like they just think it's really weird. Like, how does he not like chocolate? And I'm honestly not a dessert person. Like, I'd rather have French fries than ice cream. So in general, I'm just like not a dessert person. I would order an appetizer before I order dessert. So the fact that my
Hell
husband
yeah.
doesn't, yeah, and the fact that he doesn't like chocolate doesn't really bother me because he'd order French fries with me, and that's better than chocolate.
Yeah,
So
except for bread pudding. Bread
Yes.
pudding is
Kyle agrees.
so fucking good. I can't even. It's so good. It sounds so weird, but it's so good.
I
And
think
carrot
I'm-
cake.
I was gonna say,
missing
oh, sorry,
something.
go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say the same thing. Like, I just don't like desserts unless it's bread pudding or creme brulee.
Oh.
and I'm in
I
like
can't pass up on those.
I'm kind of in major disagreement on that. I have to admit, there's something about creme brulee that is disgusting and repulsive to me.
I'm not a fan of creme brulee, but bread pudding.
I'm on his shit list now. And I don't know if I've ever really had a good bread pudding. I have to be honest about that one too.
When you come out here, we're gonna have to go to White Chocolate Grill.
Yes.
They have
Okay.
a
They
white
have a-
chocolate bread pudding that is
I would
so
do that.
good.
It is very good.
Yeah, I
Okay.
actually make a copycat version of it,
Oh.
and it is actually equally as delicious.
Okay. Yeah, I'd give that. And it's not like I wouldn't try it. Like I'm not that kind of person, but unless
Yeah.
it's creme brulee. I will flat out not eat creme brulee. It's gross. There's just something about it. Like I think
Is it
that
the custard?
yes, it's
Yeah.
the egginess of it that's really weird. And then it's like crunchy eggs. And I don't want
Yeah.
crunchy eggs.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
just-
blame you.
it's
Crunchy
gross.
eggs. Gross.
It's really gross. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's my hot chocolate.
That's fun.
Yes.
I'm just
How about you?
drinking my Paramules. I've learned to really love them. The mistake of buying the pear vodka maybe wasn't that big of a mistake, if I'm being totally honest now.
I was gonna say a pear vodka is pretty good. We've talked about it before. Like there are worse mistakes to make.
Yeah,
You could have
it
gotten
is-
frosting flavored vodka.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah.
It's
Gosh.
just so gross.
That tangent again. Goodness.
Or
My poor
any
listeners.
tequila.
Oh yeah.
Okay, don't even go there with me. Tequila is. I love me a good margarita. You're on my shit list now.
I had a bad night with
Okay.
tequila. So I'm
Oh yeah,
just, like,
Jillian had a.
I had
incident.
oh my gosh, I had a really rough night with tequila. Well, and it wasn't even like margaritas, it was tequila shots. And it was
Yeah.
there was probably at least 8. And there were other
Oh,
things that I had that
no.
night too. But I don't think I've ever been that drunk. Well, I don't know, wine and brandy night. I think I was maybe more drunk than tequila night. But
Wine and brandy.
that's a whole nother. Don't mix your alcohol, everybody. That's a lesson learned, okay? Wine and brandy don't go together, okay?
And
end up
tequila
doing
and
wander.
other things.
Whoops.
Yes, it was just really bad. It was a major oops. Like I know better, and I was so drunk on wine that I was like, sure, I can have some brandy. No, it was a mistake. But yeah, tequila night was also bad. They're both terrible. They will go down in history as my worst nights.
That is hilarious.
I'm not a fan of tequila. I'm getting into flavored margaritas now, but it took me years. I gotta be honest. It
Oh, I love
really bad.
margaritas. They're so good.
was real bad.
All
All right,
right.
let's see. On to what's next. What do we have next? Do we want to talk about social media now, or do we want to do it at the end? Let's do it now. They need to hear it.
Okay.
They need to get through social media before they get a story.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. Go ahead and email us at taleswithtwinspodcast@gmail.com for any, stories that you'd like to share with us, any recommendations on things that you'd like us to do. If you have like merch ideas or anything like that that you'd want us to go for, let us know. And then we also have an Instagram and a Twitter. They are both Tales with Twins. Yeah, just Tales with Twins. That's our handles at Tales with Twins.
Yep.
For
And
both
the
Instagram and Twitter.
and the Facebook group is Tales with Twins podcast. You have to be accepted into the group, but as long as you're not a psycho, we will let you in.
Yes, you will be screened just a little
Yeah.
bit. No racists allowed.
This is true.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, let's see here. Is there anything else before we get to your story about a cult? Your very long
I'm so
story.
excited. I think this is my most favorite thing that I've covered, and I didn't think it would be because I love me some cryptids, but this is the greatest thing. I'm so excited about this because it just is mind blowing.
Oh, that's exciting because
The
it's like
level of insanity that goes into this is just absolutely shocking.
yeah.
I'm
Well, and
excited
it's
too.
Ooh,
yeah.
Kyle's gonna just eat this up. He's gonna love
Yes,
it.
we all love a good cult for sure, especially Kyle,
And this
who's
one's
already in a
not,
cult.
I mean, it's icky, but it's not super icky. Like, this isn't your average cult story. It's not like drink the Kool-Aid kind of disturbing mass suicide stuff.
Okay.
Like, this is very calculated and calm and like
Mm.
manipulative
Ooh.
thoughtfulness death.
Hmm. Okay. This is
It's
So a truly
now.
diabolical person.
yes, but very, very good at it.
Okay. Well, now I'm curious if I've heard of this cult before, but I guess
I
we'll
don't know
find
if
out.
you have. I even asked, so my mother-in-law grew up in like the 70s and 80s, right? I asked her today. I was like, "Have you heard of this before?" Cuz it wasn't a huge cult, but it was a thing, and she was like, "No, I don't think I have." But that's not really her cup of tea anyway. So,
Sure.
but I was like, maybe someone who grew up in this time would remember it, and I'm sure people from the areas that this has happened maybe will, but yeah,
Okay.
oh god, it's not any of the big ones.
Okay. Well, and so it's this kind of stuff, like hearing how excited you are to do it. It's this kind of stuff that is the reason we're doing this podcast. Like
Yeah.
you and I would talk about weird shit, and Kyle too. All three of us, we're the weird people in our family.
I feel like Kelsey and Mom are in this too, though. Like
Yeah, that's true.
our
That's true.
sister and our mom are both equally as into this as we are.
Yes, we are all. Let's just say we're a true crime family. Let's
Yeah,
be
we're a
honest.
family of
Yeah.
weirdos.
So, but it's usually we would all just kind of be talking to each other about this and telling stories about this. So but I mean, this is why we wanted to do it. It's like we're talking about
Yeah.
this stuff anyway. We're interested in it anyway. Like we might as well just record it and have
Yeah, I
fun with
couldn't
it.
believe how passionate I got about this. Like, I was telling Morgan today, like, how in the world I wrote 13 pages
Oh
by
my God.
choice. By choice. Like, I mean, even for school, when it's like, okay, we need a 10-page essay, I'm like, fuck this, fuck my life. But I happily wrote 13 pages and was like, wow, I need more. But I was like, I
Yeah.
can't because this needs to be, we can't keep going on this one topic. But it is just wild.
Wow. Okay. I'm excited.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so I do have some trigger warnings, okay?
Okay. No,
'Cause-
I really do appreciate it, and I think our listeners will too. So go for it.
Yeah, and this one is a big one. It's a suicide. So there's a lot of suicide talk in this episode, okay?
Okay.
We're going to talk about a lot of people who do commit suicide. It's not mass suicide, but
Mm-hmm.
it is a thing. And there is a death of a child, but she's 14. I'm just
Okay.
going to put that out there. If that's something that's upsetting, to people, then, just keep that in mind.
Okay.
And you'll know when it's coming.
Okay.
Because I'll mention her age.
Okay.
But yeah, so the suicide thing is gonna be in this episode, all right?
Okay. Thanks for the heads up.
Yes. Okay. So next I have I'll do my sources. So this was one of those ones again that was like too big to be going around.
Okay. Yeah.
I fact checked with some other sites, but I got it all from one site, which was actually a blog, and it was really good. Like, the person who wrote it was really, really good. I couldn't find the actual author, it didn't have their name. But the blog is called True Noir Blog.
Love it.
And yeah, it's really fun. I might go back there. I don't know how often there's like true crime stuff. I'm assuming that's kind of what the whole blog is, but I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But anyways, the other source that I did use a little bit, I didn't use it as part of my actual research, but I actually heard of this story from Unsolved Mysteries, the TV show back in the 80s, Robert Stack.
Yes. I have to
Oh, so the
admit.
original one? Oh, sorry. Jen.
Yeah, like
original
OG
one, yeah.
Robert
Oh,
Stack.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I have to admit, there is a small part of me that's like, Robert Stack is kind of sexy.
Jillian.
His
No.
hair is so coiffed.
He reminds me of Grandpa.
Oh, now that's just weird.
That is weird, Jillian.
It's just, I think he's cute. You
I'm
think
kidding.
he reminds you of Grandpa? Great.
I know, I'm just
okay,
fucking
great.
with you. Sorry. He kind of looked like him, and he wasn't a big smiler.
Yeah, and he was tall. He seems like he's a little taller too. So I could see
Mhm.
that. I could see that.
Yeah. Sorry, I have ice in my drink, so I apologize, everyone, but
I have marshmallows in mine.
okay, anyways, yes, good old Robert Stack was the guy who planted this lovely, lovely topic in my brain.
Okay. Thanks, Robert Stack.
Yes, thank you. God rest your soul.
Yes. You did good, son.
Yes. Aw, I actually don't know how he died, but super sad.
Hopefully it was peaceful and of old age.
I know.
We'll go with that.
All right, so here's my little statement, because I like to do these like little funny intro statements.
The
It's not very
catfish
funny.
statement.
Yeah, it's not very funny, but it kind of is the intro to it all.
Okay.
All right, this is the strange story of Terri Hoffman and her cult, Conscious Development of Body, Mind, and Soul. That's the
What
name
the
of the cult.
actual fuck? Okay.
I know, it's a mouthful.
I don't know if I've ever heard of this one.
Yeah, it wasn't a big one, but
Okay.
it was really popular in the 70s and the 80s.
Okay. I guess. Well, a lot of cults were. Well, I guess most of them were 90s. I guess, right?
Yeah, this one kind of started to go downhill in the 90s, early
Okay.
90s.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it kind of goes into the 2000s, but most of the crazy shit happened in the 70s and the 80s.
Okay.
So we'll just, All right. And as I said before, this isn't like your average cult story, mass suicide, Kool-Aid stuff. It's not as like disturbing and tragic, but it is sad. I mean, people died, don't get me wrong. So that's awful and sad and tragic. But there's just something different when it's like hundreds of people drinking cyanide,
Yes.
So this is not nearly as broad of a range of people.
Okay. It's pretty specific.
Yes, and very targeted.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm
chose
excited
her.
about this. And by
Yeah,
excited I mean intrigued because I'm not excited about death. I mean none of us
I
are.
know.
But
Yeah.
we it's interesting and we want to know about it and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I wanted to talk about too is like this isn't something that I want to be like making fun of, but at the same time like this is a podcast where we kind of make jokes and it's I don't know, are we a comedy podcast
I
maybe?
wouldn't I wouldn't go that far.
I
Well, at
mean
times I
like
see, kind of dark comedy a little bit sometimes.
yeah, or like a
Yeah.
dark comedy kind of podcast. So, yes, we poke fun at some things, but we're not making fun of the people who died per se, but maybe some of the actions that go in and around these people is a little bit out there.
Yes.
Um, and another thing is like there's lots of talk about reincarnation and, other realms and stuff like that. You can definitely believe that if you want, like that's totally your prerogative. The things that I'm probably going to be making fun of is just this specific group because some of the stuff that they did and said was just really out there and honestly kind of hilarious. Reincarnation, it's in and of itself isn't that strange of an idea, but the way that they taught it was just really fucking out there, so I just think it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah. There's a podcast that I listen to called Small Town Murder. And I gotta be honest, I don't recommend it to like just anybody. I'm pretty specific on who I recommend it to because the two
They're
guys
pretty
that do
dark.
it, they're comedians. The two hosts, they're both comedians, like legit
Mm-hmm.
comedians. That's their job. So, and it's a murder podcast. Sorry, my dog is in the background clicky clacking in. You know the drill. That's how they roll. But at the beginning of every episode, they have to say basically what you just said, where it's like, hey
Yeah.
guys, like, we're comedians. Paige and I are not comedians, like,
Yeah.
obviously, and we don't pretend to be. I mean, I think we're charming as fuck, but we're not comedians.
Right.
So, but they have to do that whole spiel where it's like, we're comedians. There's a lot of weird shit and funny shit that goes around murder. The actual murder part is horrific, and
Isn't
we're not
funny.
laughing about that. Yeah, we're not making fun of the victims or their families or anything like that. But they've like tailored their, heads up, this is a comedy podcast really well.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of what it is. In order to get through some of these really dark things, you kind of have to make light of some of the things. But all that to say is like, you believe what you want to believe. If you believe in reincarnation, that's so great. I'm just going to be making fun of some of the things that these people specifically believed.
Okay.
Not reincarnation in and of itself, because, like I said, I don't think that that's that crazy of an idea,
Yeah.
but
It's just the way they
it's
taught
just,
it.
yeah, it's just some of the things that they do is just really kind of out there.
Okay.
And it's honestly kind of funny. The other thing is that there's a lot of manipulation, and I'm assuming there was a crazy amount of gaslighting going on.
Oh, yeah.
So, just warning everyone on that as well. But in order to make this kind of dark topic fun and entertaining, we're going to make light of some of the things that maybe some people would find offensive. Like, if you believe in reincarnation, don't hate me for kind of laughing about some of the things that they say. It's not that I think that's funny. It's just we have to make this funny, you
Yeah.
know?
For our own sanity, we need to kind of laugh about some of this stuff. Or else,
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like, Paige and I are talking about really dark topics basically every week. There are some that, like the Mongolian death worm, that one was hilarious, let's just be honest, because it's a
Yeah.
cryptid and it,
Yeah.
as far as we know, hasn't really hurt anybody. But there, when we're talking about these true crime cases, like, you kind of have to laugh through the pain a little bit, and I
Yeah.
imagine that's probably what we're going to be doing tonight.
That's exactly it. Yes.
Okay.
Even as I was writing this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awful. You kind of have to laugh to just like make yourself feel okay about it.
Yeah. No, I get it. It was like that with the Omaima Nelson episode. I
Yeah.
mean, not the cannibal part of it, but she just some of the stuff that she did where it's like, lady, you are so weird.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay. So, anyways, what I was going to say was Terri Hoffman and her cult left behind like more mysteries than answers
Oh man.
in this insane trail of death. Like
Oh my God.
of
Okay.
many of her followers and people who were associated with her, which is just fucking wild.
All right.
All right, so Terri Lee Hoffman, Hoffman is her married name. She was married, I think, like 5 times.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so her name has changed a lot over the
Okay.
years,
All right.
but her most known name that she went by was Hoffman. So I'm not sure what her maiden name was. I was actually not really able to find that. I'm sure it was easy to find, but like I said, my notes are 13 pages long, so I was incredibly overwhelmed. So I just didn't find that.
There are more important facts in this story than what her maiden name was. Let's
Yes,
just go with that.
I agree. Because if you Googled her by her last name, you probably wouldn't find her. But you will find her if you Google Terri Hoffman.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One
She
of her
was
married names.
I know, one of her many married names.
Yeah,
Yes.
how's that spelled? Just to be
It's
sure.
Terri
Oh, okay.
Hoffman.
She went with an I. I
I
see
did
now what
see
went
it.
wrong.
Oh my god,
I'm
Julian.
just kidding. All the brandies with an eyes are
Although-
going to be like, fuck you.
I fucking hate you. I did see, though, there were a lot of times where her name was spelled with a Y, so it could be a Y.
Okay.
I was unable to verify.
She looks like she's talking into your microphone.
Yeah, she does.
So
Here you go,
Kyle
Terry.
likes
There you
to Kyle likes to update the backgrounds on his Zoom screen
And
to
by
whatever
update,
we're
you
talking
mean
about.
like mildly throw us off and
Yes.
giggle a little bit when he
Yes.
does it.
And he pulled up a picture of Terri Hoffman, in the way that her head is placed. It literally looks like she's talking into a microphone.
Yep. She
Hey,
also has
she's-
crazy eyes.
Yeah, she's a fucking creep. Ugh. Anyway, okay. So she was born March 21st, 1938. Pick her nose, Kyle. Do it. She deserves
trying
it.
so hard not to laugh.
She deserves it.
He's
All
picking
right.
her nose. Okay.
Sorry.
Woo, sorry. Getting a little wild here.
March 21st, 1938, Terri Hoffman was birthed.
Okay.
Okay. Terri was born into an impoverished family with an alcoholic and neglectful father, which is very sad. That is very,
Yes.
very sad.
Yeah.
And sadly, her mother died when Terri was a small child, which
Oh
is
my God.
also very, very sad.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
So Terri was brought to an orphanage after her mother died, because her dad was kind of like out of the picture by that point.
Yeah.
And she was ultimately adopted 2 years later. So she was in the orphanage for 2 years. And then at age 11, she was adopted by a family from Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
I do not know the name of the family, but they
It's
probably don't.
for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to save their sanity.
Yeah.
They're probably long gone by now, though. So,
Yeah.
if we're being honest. At age 15, in 1954, Terri was actually married. At 15.
Ooh, okay. All right. That is.
Yeah.
I was going to say problem number one, but let's be honest. There's a lot of problems already, but still, that's not great.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it's like you could say it was the time, but it was 1954. And I think that was not really a thing in 1954. Like, you didn't marry that young, right?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Child marriage is still a thing, and it's
Well,
still a
yeah.
thing in America. So it wouldn't really surprise me, like, I mean, but it was Dallas, so Dallas is kind of a big city, so that I guess that's kind of weird.
Yeah. That
I don't
seems a
know.
little
I don't know.
strange.
Either way, I think that's weird.
Yeah.
So we'll just go with that.
Anyway, so this was 1954 when she got married, and her husband's name was John Wilder, and they had 3 children together.
He sounds like a writer.
I actually don't know what he did.
It doesn't matter. It's just it's fine. It's just the name, and it's like, oh, John Wilder. That sounds like a Western novelist.
Oh, I see
You know
what
what I
you
mean?
mean. Yes. Yeah, I concur.
Well, there was a Gene Wilder who did a Western called
Oh,
Blazing
my-
Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. Gene Wilder just died like, what, 2 years ago now? Super sad.
Oh my gosh, now I feel like such a dumbass.
Was he in that movie? I think he was.
Yeah, he was the
Okay.
sheriff.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't the sheriff, because the black guy was the sheriff, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that was like a big
She
thing,
was.
because they like made someone of color a sheriff in their town in the Western
So
days.
groundbreaking.
I know.
Wow.
Goodness.
Well, now I feel like an idiot. Okay, well, Gene and John Wilder, just got a little
Yes.
mixed up in my head there.
Again, God rest his soul. Okay, Terry did love at first being a stay-at-home mom, but eventually was kind of like, that's not really for me anymore. Which, sure, that's, I totally get that. That's about where I'm at right now. I love my children and I love being a stay-at-home mom, but it's nice to have something else to pour your soul into as well as your children.
Yes.
So, at that time, she then starts meeting with other people who had similar mindsets as herself. I don't really think at this time she was, heading in a really dark direction, at least not yet.
Okay.
But they did often discuss things like the universe and the origin and structure of the universe, Big Bang Theory kind of stuff. And they refer to something as the nature of truth and the meaning of existence. So, good, deep, deep conversations.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like real deep, but
Yeah.
whatever floats your boat, I guess.
Yeah. So, in her research into like the meaning of the world and all these things, she ended up becoming really fascinated with the writings of Edgar Cayce. Have you heard of him?
I'm going to say no. It kind of sounds familiar, but I think that's my brain playing tricks on me.
Yeah. Well, so he was a very, very famous, actually, clairvoyant, psychic, and faith healer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So kind of interesting. Very well known and respected in
I'm sure
his
he was
field.
fascinating at dinner parties.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And generally speaking, I just want to say that like his writings and stuff were not like dark and manipulative and crazy. At least from what I know, I didn't read any of his stuff, but I'm pretty sure that his information and topics aren't overly dark the way that Terry's life ends up going. But I know she was very fascinated with his stuff, which probably did introduce her into the world of like psychic things and spiritual realms and stuff like that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Okay.
does.
She also became very interested in the Silva mind control method, which I had
Doesn't
never
sound
heard of.
great.
I know. I had never heard of. And when I read that, I was like, no.
Maybe it's what they used to call 5G.
Oh my god.
I'm joking. I'm totally joking. I'm not.
Oh my god.
That's not
I'm
what it
sorry.
is. I just thought that was a funny correlation.
I
think
thought it
it's
was
funny.
funny.
And no, the Silva mind control is not 5G. Let's just put
But
that out
wouldn't it
there.
be wild if it was?
Oh my god, in the 50s.
That was a good call, Kyle. Good call.
Oh god. Anyway, I will also say that as you said, the Silva mind control book sounds really sketchy, right?
A little bit.
I don't think that it is. I also
Okay.
think that it's more about controlling your own mind and your thought process.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Okay.
But I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. It might be.
You mean you didn't read it? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I didn't read it. No.
I wouldn't have read it either. It's okay.
Yeah. I think that there was a little bit of like, manipulating others for the greater good kind of stuff. Like he did admit to using some of these techniques on his children to like help them feel more positively about themselves.
Okay.
So basically, if you break it down, it is a form, I think. Like I said, I haven't read it, so don't quote me on this, but it's something along the lines of like some sort of manipulation of yourself or others into like hypnotism, sort of.
Okay.
Or just like thinking things that you say to them.
Okay. If we
sort of
have any
stuff.
listeners who have read this book, let us know what you
Yeah,
think.
please let us know.
Sounds like a way to change one's perspective to look at things in a different way.
That's the best way to describe it. Thank you, because I did not have those words. And thank you once again for clarifying the things that make me sound stupid.
No, you don't sound stupid.
Oh gosh. Anyway, so as I said, like, these two authors, I don't believe, like, wrote these writings and books to do any harm to anyone. It's just this person, Terri, I believe, took it a little too far. You know?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So after reading some of these books, she became very interested in hypnosis and took classes and became very proficient in hypnotism. So as she became more, like, proficient in hypnotism, I don't know how she, like, practiced this, but apparently she did.
I wouldn't want to be her guinea pig.
I know, especially after you hear what goes down.
Oh my god. I can only imagine. Well, I'm going to find out, I guess. So
Yes, it's a wild ride. As time went on, she began offering meditation classes and actually had a decent group of people that she guided through meditations, which, sure, that
yeah.
sounds good.
I mean,
That
people
sounds
do that
nice.
all the time.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
meditating is not anything that's weird. That's
Yeah.
pretty normal. But Terri wanted more than just your basic meditations.
Oh my god. Okay.
So that's when she started to call her meditation groups the conscious development of body, mind, and soul.
Okay.
She created written lessons that she sold to people. So she actually had, like, workbooks or, like, books and things like that, like, lesson plans for their own meditations that she, like, sold.
Okay.
You know, just your modern day businesswoman. Which is true. I mean, it's like, if you're doing
Yes.
meditations, you might as well just, like, you know, do some, like, little lesson plans or something
Yeah.
like
Well, and
that.
in
I don't
general,
know.
it's like you should get paid for your services. Like whatever those services are, in general, you should get paid for them. But it's and when you think of knowing that this is a cult story, it's like, okay, red flag, because it
Yep.
immediately makes me think of like Scientology, where they make you pay for literally everything, and then you have to
Everything.
pay for it again
Yeah. Yeah.
when it gets outdated. It's just, so it just reminded me a little bit of that, but I guess it's all because I have a little bit of context.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You can
Yeah.
kind of see where things end up going. Like, they don't start out bad, but over time, like, things just get progressively worse.
Yeah.
So as the group started to get bigger, it was commonly referred to as just conscious development. That was kind of what the term was, because the name is such a fucking mouthful.
Well, and it sounds nice, like, it's like, oh,
Conscious
come join my
development.
conscious development group. It's like,
Yeah.
sure, that sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds
So,
kind of like Nixium. Didn't they have the same kind of idea,
Totally.
premise?
Yeah. Yeah. Nexium is all about self-help.
yes,
Yeah.
this is not that.
Well, but it kind of sounds like that, though. Like that
It sounds
name,
like that, but we're gonna get into more of what her, like,
her
teachings
philosophy
kind of
was. Okay.
consisted of, and it was
Okay.
not that.
Okay. Well, it's misleading then. That's
Yeah.
what it sounds like.
I mean, I guess, like, deep down it kind of was, but on the surface it was like, ooh, ick.
Okay.
But so from now on, I'll be referring to the group as conscious development. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the name of the cult at this point, though she would not call her groups a cult.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, I have a quote from the True Noir blog. Okay.
Okay.
Because it was just kind of one of those things that I felt like I couldn't write it any better than this person did.
Don't you love it when that happens?
During group meditations, Terri would lead the students on a tour of the temples of the higher realms.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So
Okay,
you can kind
continue.
of see where this is going.
Yes.
She would
Okay.
lead the students on a tour of the temples of the higher realms.
Oh, good
This is
grief.
a quote from someone in the group. Terri would lead the students on a tour of the temples of the higher realms. As a Washington tour guide might aid a busload of blind tourists. Isn't that a weird thing to say? Well, let me
Yes.
elaborate on what that means. The students would frequently speak up during these sessions to add descriptive touches, as though they were all visiting the same place together in their minds.
Well,
So so basically she would, they would be like meditating together and she would say, "Okay, we're in this spiritual realm and here we are walking on a lake. What do you see?" And then people are like, "Oh, look, there's a swan." Like that kind of thing. So like
yeah.
people would contribute to the illusion in their head. So like you would be like, but they believed that they were actually traveling to these other realms,
Okay.
though really it was probably just, I mean, if you believe in other realms, sure, you do you. But what I believe it to be is people were using their own imaginations and they were going on like a little imagination tour, which honestly sounds kind of fun.
Yes. Well, and I mean, like, if you think about it, so they talk about how like you can't really plant, specifically when you're talking about witnesses that are being interviewed, you can't plant ideas in their mind because it can grow.
Yes.
And it's kind of one of those things where it's like if you give this group, okay, here we are at this lake and I see a swan. All somebody else has to say is, "Oh, a swan? Oh, now I see a swan. Oh, and now there's like trees." And it's like, well, of course there's trees. You're at like a lake. And then everybody else can kind of like build on it, you know? So
Yeah,
it's
and that
just
was
a
kind of the
collective.
point of these, was that everybody collectively was making these realms together.
Okay, so they
Because
were
as one
building.
person, yeah, as one person would, they weren't actually making the realms. They were
Yes,
going on a
imagined.
tour of the
Yeah.
realm, but Terry's like, "Well, what do you see in this other realm?" And people are like, in their imaginations, they're like, "I see a swan." And then they say it like, "Oh, I see a swan." And then everyone's like, "Oh, hey, I do too." Because then they put it in your brain that they've also seen a swan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine like if you get into this knowing that that's what this is, where it's like it's kind of fun, like you can imagine things
Together.
together by building on it, which sounds fun. But when you're like, I'm going to take you on a tour of this realm and
And
we're
we're
all
going
going to
to,
go to the same place and you're going to tell me what you see, it's like, well, of course, people are just going to like build on what other people have said. Like,
yeah.
that's what they're kind of programmed to do.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
programmed is a very clinical word, I guess, but that's just like kind of what the brain does.
Right. Totally. Yeah. In addition to these like guided tours of weird spiritual realms,
Okay.
they also would just kind of sit together and Terry would lecture. It was quoted as they would listen to Terry's wisdom.
Sounds boring as shit,
Yes.
but okay.
So she would just go on topics like ghosts and spirits,
That one
sex.
sounds fun.
I know. Sex and
Okay.
finances. She would kind of talk about pretty much anything. And they would just sit there and listen.
Oh my
Which if you
god.
think
Okay.
about it, like when people go to church, that's kind of what you do. Like you
Yes,
sit
that's
there
true.
and listen to, whoever's talking talk about, whatever they're talking about. But,
Yeah.
so that's not that weird. She was like their religious leader, but I don't know. It's just, it gets weird as things go on.
Well,
Like I
yeah,
said,
and
on the
it's
surface, it doesn't sound that bad. But like
yeah.
once you get deeper and deeper, it's like, oh no.
Yeah, well, it's like if you were to meet this person casually like on the street where it's like, "Oh yeah, like I have a spiritual guidance person that does these weekly chats, kind of like a, sermon thing." It's like, "Okay, like that's not that weird." But
Yeah.
again, knowing where this is going to end, there are so many red flags already.
I
And that's one
know.
of them.
I know. Yeah. Her teachings often focused on balance and karma, as well as the idea that death was meaningless because after death you would just be reincarnated, so you shouldn't be afraid of death. Which again, that's like, okay, well, that's actually a decent philosophy to take. Not
Sure. A lot of
that,
people believe
yeah,
that. Yeah.
not that out there. And the idea of not being afraid of death, I feel like, is
Kind of freeing, isn't it?
yes, yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say good, but my dog again is, being
Having a
an
moment.
old crotchety lady.
Oh.
Sorry. Anyways,
That
that'll be a
was like
good
a
one
2
to
for 1.
morph, Kyle.
Very nice.
I got like 2.
So here's a quote to kind of go along with all of that. And I
Okay.
believe that Terri said this herself, though I can't be sure. So we'll just leave that at that. But
Okay. We'll speculate.
yes. Quote. Quote. You will also become conscious of the continuity of life. Death then will not exist in reality. For you will realize that your existence is not dependent upon the mere maintenance of your physical body. The result of noble death is rebirth.
Okay.
It's very wordy, but
Yeah, I was going to say that's a lot of things when she could have said that in like one sentence.
right. Well, and basically it's like, who cares if your life goes to shit? If you die, you're just going to be reborn, so who gives a fuck? Which you can see from like statements like that where it's like, oh, well, then I'll just commit suicide and start over.
Yes. Well, and I didn't really think of it that way until you said that. And then I was like, all the bells were going off. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah, so you can kind
That's
of
very
see.
like, I don't want to say manipulative because I don't think it's manipulative yet, but that's very flippant.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very flippant is a good way to describe it, I guess. I don't need to elaborate on that, I suppose. Why does everyone else just have better verbiage than I do? I cannot
That's
get
not
it down.
true. That is
I
not
just
true.
can't do it.
It's different because I'm a bystander in this story.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so she also taught that this is wild, okay? One of the other things that she taught, was a very big fan of, was that Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, Muhammad, and Baha'u'llah were all real, legitimate spiritual masters. Which,
Let
sure.
me just say, you did a great job pronouncing all of that.
Thank you. We had to look it up.
I don't think I could have done it. You might still be wrong, but you did a good job.
I'm sorry if I am wrong. Don't hate me. I tried my best. I'm a basic white bitch, okay? And I'm trying my best.
You did good. Good job.
Thank you. Anyway, so she believed that basically all the major, religious leaders, deities, whatever, were legitimate spiritual masters, which is a good way to basically be like, hey, you believe in Jesus? Great. Come into my cult because you're going to fit in.
Ooh, okay. All right. Jesus as bait is a good bait, I will say.
I know, especially because it's like, that's like the number one, like, religious person.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are all kind of the good things-ish about Terri's little cult.
Oh, God.
Though at this time it was not really a cult.
Yeah, it was more of maybe a following.
Yes, she had her group, followers.
Okay.
We'll say that. It doesn't sound like so bad, right? It sounds a little bit out there, but it doesn't sound that bad, right?
Yeah.
Well, eventually Terri starts doing some really strange things with conscious development.
Okay.
Some of the things that she was known to do was, one thing was she believed that she was actually the reincarnation of Saint Teresa of Avila, who was a Catholic mystic, actually.
A Catholic mystic.
I know, isn't that weird? So she was a Catholic saint who believed in reincarnation.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
I would have never thought that that would be like grounds for sainthood. I mean, I don't know if that's why she was made a saint, but that's
Yeah, I don't
interesting.
know either. But she also believed that you could basically like come and go to heaven whenever you wanted.
Huh.
Yeah, very fascinating, right?
Yeah.
But apparently she is Terry.
Well, and honestly, like most cult leaders are like that, where it's like,
I'm the
I'm the
reincarnation of
reincarnated,
Jesus.
yes, of Jesus, or I can't even remember who it was for Heaven's Gate, but it was kind of the same thing, where it's just like they're always a reincarnation of somebody.
Somebody big.
Yeah, somebody major.
Yes. Which I will say, this Saint Teresa of Avila is no one major, but a very
It's different
fascinating
though.
person, we'll just say that.
Yes. Well, and I've definitely never heard of, I'm not Catholic, but I've definitely never heard of a saint that was a mystic. That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah,
Get
and I
it,
don't know
Teresa.
how heavy she got into reincarnation, but she definitely believed in some things that were not very Catholic.
Okay. That's interesting. I
Yeah.
like it. I kind of dig it.
I know, yeah. She paved the way for modern Catholicism, we'll just say. Don't quote me on that. Don't.
We're not Catholics.
I'm not slandering or saying blasphemous things about the Catholic religion at all. I'm just saying she was different.
Yes. Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
Okay, here are some other things that she did and said. But one of the things that she commonly did was that she would claim while she was visiting the spiritual realm, as she did often. She would go back and forth to different realms and visit and chat with the masters. And she learned from the masters that certain couples were not meant to be
Uh-oh.
and proceed to break them up.
What? Whoa, what a home wrecker.
I know. And usually it was so that she could then marry the man.
Oh my god.
Isn't that
Wow.
sad?
Okay. So, well, I don't know if you're going to get to this, but I guess my next question is, did she have more than one husband?
Remember she had like 5.
No, I mean like at the same time.
Oh, no, she wasn't a polygamist.
Okay, because that's like a big thing with cult leader. Well, male
Yeah.
cult leaders. It's like, I'm gonna marry all the women.
I know. That was one thing that I enjoyed, quote unquote, about this cult, was that there wasn't really like sexual abuse or things like that. But no, she didn't have multiple husbands at one time. She divorced and then, or they
Went
would
to the
die,
next one.
and then on to the next one.
Oh my god. That's
Yes,
just
like a month
crazy.
later, on to the next one.
I wonder if these guys had any say in it, or if she was just like, nope, you two, you're not meant to be. You come over here and get married to me.
So I believe that it was consensual, though consensual being a loose word because she was a master manipulator.
Okay.
So I do believe that people married her of their own free will. Not free will, I take that back. Of their own volition.
Okay.
But I think there was probably some manipulation that went into it.
Okay. Just a little bit of mind fuckery.
Right, and you see it here in this even incident where she's breaking people up, saying like, "Oh, Jesus from the other realm told me that you guys aren't a good match. You might as well just break up and then marry me."
Oh my god.
He told me, Jesus also told me that we're supposed to be together. Because she did do that too. And then they would be like, "Oh, well, if the masters from the other realm said to do it, then I better listen." that kind of
Oh
thing.
my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a dick move.
I know. And people
Okay.
actually did it. That's the wild part, is people were like, okay, did it.
Wow. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
She would also claim to have prevented things like accidents from happening and protect people from medical ailments such as cancer. Like, oh, I meditated and relieved your body of cancer. You didn't even know you had it. No one did, but the spiritual realm told me you did, and I rid it of your body through my thoughts.
Oh my God. It's like you mentioned accidents too, where it's like, oh, good, you got here safely. It's because of me. I meditated about it.
Well, actually, let me just tell you.
Oh my God.
At one point, she told a follower named Glenn that she prevented a car accident that his girlfriend would have been in, though through meditation, she prevented it. P.S. This was also one of those couples that she broke up and then married him.
Oh my God. So she was
I
like, but
saved
here's
your
the deal.
girlfriend, so
Yes.
the least you can do is break up with her and marry me.
Oh my God. It's so fucked up. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Super
I'm a
sad.
little blown away.
Oh my God, and that's just the beginning.
Jeez. Okay. All right.
She also believed it was her duty to fight the Dark Lords of
Oh, good
other
grief.
realms and protect our earthly realm. So that's
Okay.
something that comes up a lot in this whole topic, is the Dark Lords. Or the Black Lords. They were referred both ways, but the Dark Lords are the negative energies, and they can like possess people and infect your energy, and then other people can spread their Dark Lord energy into you, like that kind of thing. So that was a big thing, and she
Wow.
fought off the Dark Lords in these other realms.
Okay.
She did battle.
I know, she's a total badass.
She's
No.
a superhero.
A superhero. She's Harry Potter. Fighting off the Dark Lord.
Oh my God.
Terry Potter. There we go.
Terry Potter. That's it.
That's it. That's a winner right there.
Yep.
Okay, she also claimed that she could observe the past, present, and the future, and could even communicate with the dead. Which, sure,
Great.
a lot of people believe they can communicate with the dead, mediums, whatever. I
Mhm.
do tend to believe there are some people who can do that.
Sure. Yeah.
Call me
I get on
crazy,
board
but
with
I
that.
do think that could possibly be a thing. But some of the other stuff, not really.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm there with you. Yeah. It's weird.
She also claimed that she could levitate, though no one actually witnessed this happen. But they
Wow.
believed it did. They believed her.
Well, and then David Blaine came along and they were all like, well, geez. Now there's two messiahs.
We have a new leader.
Yeah.
The Conscious Development Cult, and it is David Blaine.
It's David Blaine.
Oh my God. That's a good one, Julian.
Oh my God.
She also, this is kind of a sad story. She refused to seek proper medical care for her son when he dislocated his finger because she insisted that she could meditate and it would heal.
That's frightening.
Yeah.
And really sad.
I know. I mean, it's like shocking at that point that she was still able to have custody of her children, because it's like you blatantly neglected their clear medical need for medical attention.
Yeah. Well, and then it's just, I mean, like, I'm sure you'll get to this, but if she's neglecting her son's finger, like, what else does she think she can just, like, pray away?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we don't really get into that.
Okay.
We
Well,
do, I
it
guess, a
was
little
there.
bit,
Like,
but yeah.
somebody was, like, really sick with something and was just like, okay,
Or
sure.
someone
Like,
just had the common cold and then it goes away and she's like, look, I healed their cancer.
I cured their lung cancer.
Yes. Oh my God.
It's just crazy.
It just makes
Okay.
me angry.
Yeah.
This one's really crazy. This actually caused a lot of people to leave the group initially when she started doing this, but she encouraged bloodletting.
No.
Yeah. And for people who don't know, bloodletting is basically where you just like cut your skin and allow yourself to bleed. It's a really
It's kind of a medieval medical treatment.
yeah, like a not real medical treatment because they believed like, oh, well, if you're sick, if you get some of the blood out, then it'll leave your system because your sickness is in your blood. Which, like, for medieval times, it's like, oh, sure, that makes sense. But in modern day medical science world, no, we know that's not a thing.
Yeah, we're better than that. I do think that there is still cultures and people that still actually do practice bloodletting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think there is. Don't quote me on that, but it's kind of one of those things where it's just like it's really dangerous. And it's first of all, it's different than self-harm cutting. Like you should know that there is a big difference between the two. There's self-harm, kind of stuff, and then this is supposed to be like a medical
It's a medical
treatment.
thing, even though it's not real. That's what they did it for.
Yes. Yeah.
But in Terry's case, the bloodletting was to get rid of the Dark Lords poisoning people's bodies.
Oh, good
I
grief.
know. I have another quote. We needed to have our blood taken out of ourselves to drain the poison out. Other members got several syringes and sterilized them and took blood out of whoever felt they needed to have their blood let. A little vial, as much as if you went to a doctor to get your blood tested. So it wasn't like a lot, but still. Just
Oh, yeah.
weird. And they
It's
were like
well,
sterilizing the needles themselves, which is like even more scary.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's just like I mean, like when you know what it is and how people probably do it, it's really dangerous. Like that's
Yeah.
not something that you just kind of mess around with.
Yeah.
And I think in the medieval times they took more than just like a vial.
Yeah, they would yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not great. People died like all the time from bloodletting. It's not,
Right.
don't do it, you guys. Don't do it. It's quite frightening.
Agreed. Okay. So, those are kind of the really crazy stuff that had come up. Obviously, there's more to this religion, quote unquote, than what I'm presenting here. There's a ton of like books and articles just specifically about her religion and what she taught and the realms and all sorts of things. But that's not as interesting as what I'm going to tell you. So,
Okay. Yeah, give me the good stuff. That's why
now
we're here.
yeah, and this is getting into the good stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so you remember Glenn, the sweet man who had his girlfriend saved through meditation and had her car accident prevented, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, as I said, Glenn ultimately is convinced to leave his girlfriend and marry Terry. So, we're going to get into that a little bit. On December 28th, 1970, Terry files for divorce from John. So they've been married for a little over 20 years, I believe.
That's longer than I expected, I got to admit.
I know. Let me just check and make sure on that. Let's see. She married in 1954, and here we are, 1970. So yeah, a little over 20 years, which is a long time. That's a pretty decent, but now she's getting into her crazy.
Okay.
So
It's
they're
probably
gonna start
best
dropping
John.
like flies.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably best that John got out when he still could.
Yes, he survived the Terry death train, as I call it.
Terry death train.
Yeah. The Terry death train. And everyone is fucking on it. All right.
Pretty good. That was perfect.
So she divorces poor John. Not really poor John, because
Yeah.
he was
Best
lucky.
of luck to you, John. You're better because of it.
Yes. But she divorced him, claiming that he was holding her back spiritually and he just wasn't on her level. So,
Oh God.
bye, John. Bye-bye. So 4
Get on
months
my
later,
level, John.
yes, which he was probably like, you let our son's thumb just like be dislocated?
Yeah, probably
Why?
like fester.
Like,
Yeah, nerve damage probably.
Oh my
Jeez.
God. So 4 months later, she marries Glenn. And Glenn Cooley is his name, and he's the one whose girlfriend was gonna be in a car accident, but Terri magically prevented that from happening due to meditation.
So that she could marry him. Just kidding.
Yeah,
That's me
probably.
embellishing.
That is embellishment, but that probably is what happened.
Yeah.
So 4 months after her 25-year marriage ends, she gets remarried. She is 32 at this time. Glenn Cooley is 20. So there is quite a bit of an age gap, though. I don't want to get into that because it's not. There's a lot of people who make very successful relationships work with a large age gap. So it's not.
Agreed.
I just don't think we need to go into that. But
Yeah.
for some reason, it was in all the articles. So I was like, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I just should include it, I guess. I don't know. So Glenn is like, hey, I have an awesome business idea. Let's start incorporating jewelry into our business. We can make jewelry together, and then you can energize it with your spiritual godliness.
Oh, grief.
And then, this is not an actual quote. This is just me being dramatic. And
But
then,
it was probably like that. Let's be
I know.
honest.
And then people will buy it because they need this spiritually charged energy that you've put your heart and soul in.
Literally. Oh my
Yes.
God.
So she
Okay,
would
well,
spiritually
Glenn.
Sorry, go ahead.
Glenn sounds like he's also on the crazy train. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I guess we'll find out, but yeah.
Well,
That's
he
where I'm
doesn't
at right
make
now.
it off the Terri death train, unfortunately. Poor
Uh-oh.
Glenn.
Great.
So even though he's a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I do feel sorry for him. But yes, so they make this jewelry, and Terri charges it, quote unquote, and then they claim that this jewelry will protect the buyers from harm.
Okay.
And they also said that the more expensive the jewelry was, the more powerful the item was.
Of course, because
Yes.
that's how it works.
So if
Oh,
you
jeez.
bought really, really expensive jewelry, you would be double protected. But if you just bought something kind of small, you might still die, but maybe you won't suffer.
Oh my God. That's
Or maybe you'll break every bone except one.
There
yes.
we go.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is okay. We've hit like full on cult territory, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the other stuff before that was
Weird
there
religion, but this is next level.
Yeah, I think this is where it goes from just kind of like dabbling to full on like Scientology weirdness.
Yeah, we're in the deep end.
Yeah.
No more kiddie pool for us. Put your panties on, we're in it.
Yes, we are on the Terri crazy train.
Yes, not the death train, just the crazy train.
Yeah. We're just along for the sightseeing tour.
Yes. So in 1976, so this is 6 years after their marriage, Terri starts to express to his family that he no longer wishes to be part of the conscious development group.
Wait, who?
Did I say Terri?
Yeah, you said Terri.
I meant Glenn.
Okay, that's what I figured, but I was like, wait, are we talking about who are we talking?
I'm sorry. Terri is a gender neutral name, but we're
It is.
talking about Glenn here, the husband.
Okay.
So Glenn expresses to his family, I'm not really into this anymore. He didn't really say why. He didn't get the opportunity to say why.
I was gonna say he probably didn't get the chance.
But he kind of says, like, I'm not really into this anymore. So shortly after, he files for divorce, and the divorce did actually become final on January 27th, 1977. So a year or so later.
Okay.
So since Glenn wasn't really feeling conscious development anymore, he was feeling like it was time for the marriage to just kind of be done.
Smart.
So he does file for divorce, and the divorce did actually become final. So they did successfully become divorced on January 27th, 1977. He made it through the divorce without dying.
Yet.
However, 6 days later.
Oh my God.
I know, it's so sad. 6 days later, on February 1st, 1977, Glenn Cooley is found dead in his parents' cabin from a drug overdose.
Lies.
And it was quickly ruled as a suicide.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's just like, okay,
It was
first
like
of all,
pills. He took pills.
so was it actually a suicide?
Well, let me finish telling his section of my notes,
Okay.
and then we can go from there.
Okay.
The morning after Glenn is found dead, Terri magically finds a handwritten will in her safe.
In her own safe. Okay.
That just wasn't there before.
It magically appeared because she meditated it there.
Yeah, there we
Oh
go.
my God.
She claims that he must have left the note in her safe the day before his death. How convenient, right?
Yeah, how convenient. Jeez, seriously.
Yes, which we'll get into that, like he went to her house kind of stuff in just a second. The note says, quote, I, Glenn Cooley, give to Terri Cooley all of my property, both personal and real. This includes 2 boats, a 1972 Buick Limited, all jewelry and equipment for its making, because they made
Jewelry together, yeah.
all furnishings for the house on Dunhaven Road, and all cash. I ask that this last will of mine not be contested by anyone in any way for any reason. Last but not least, I give all my love to all my family and friends. As explanation for all of this, I can't really say what it is because of, but I can say what it is not because of. It is not because of divorce with Terri, past drug experiences, inability to cope, etc. What it is, I myself know, but don't have the words for.
Well, that's convenient.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
they're divorced.
Well,
And he
honestly,
still
like,
leaves all his stuff to her.
yes. Well,
Apparently.
and if she had, okay, I'm kind of speculating here. I don't know what's coming next, but I'm assuming that she's killed him. Or at least manipulated him into killing himself. But I don't know that yet. I'm assuming you're going to tell me. But I want to get this out in the open first. So I'm a little bit surprised that she didn't kill him at the very least before they got divorced. Because honestly, like, she probably wouldn't have needed to do the whole last will and testament thing, because as his wife, she would have like gotten anything anyway, unless he already had another will.
Right.
So it just seems like another stumbling point for, I guess, her to get caught if she actually did kill him.
Right. So,
or talked him into killing himself.
Right. And that's kind of, it seems that that's the direction that things lean.
Okay.
But let me just,
Okay.
finish this part.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. One other piece to this mystery is that there was a former member of Conscious Development, so the cult, basically, who later came forward and said that she and Terri were both present for Glenn's death. She said that her and Terri drove up to meet Glenn at his cabin, and
What?
Terri, yeah.
Oh my God.
And Terry allegedly said, Glenn is going to the next level.
Oh my God.
Upon arriving, Glenn informed them that he had indeed taken a fatal amount of drugs. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the police were never notified, obviously, that he had taken drugs, so there was no intervention to try to save his
Yeah.
life.
Like they could have called an ambulance
Yeah.
and they might have saved him.
Yep.
But instead they're just like, "No, we were just there like conveniently while he was killing himself."
Yeah.
Oh my God, she totally did it.
Well, so here's where, based on what I know from the rest of these stories, I'm just going to kind of give you this little tidbit of information. I think that, like I said before, she was a master manipulator.
Mhm.
I do think that he probably came to her and was feeling really sad about
Okay.
being alone.
Mhm.
He had a past issue. He said in his note he had past issues with drugs and inability to cope.
Mhm.
But he says those are not the reasons why he did this. But I believe he went to Terry and said something because she
Yeah.
claims that he came to her house the day before and they probably chatted. And I believe that she manipulated him. Some of the people who talk about her in this article mention hypnotism, that she would just like straight up hypnotize people into killing themselves.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I don't know how much I believe that aspect of it, but I don't know. I don't know enough about hypnotism to say like, no, I don't think that happened, or like, oh yeah, you
Yeah,
know.
I don't really
So
know.
I don't really know, but I do
Yeah.
believe that she had some sort of manipulation, hypnotism, whatever you want to call it, into convincing him that killing himself was a good idea. And as we talked before about how she like taught, like, oh, well, if you're just not happy in this life, you shouldn't fear death. Just go on to your next life,
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
That's fucking wild. Well, and
I
I
know.
kind because I kind of wondered if it was like, oh, okay, well, if her and that woman had gone over there after he had taken all these pills, she could have gotten him to write this will
Yeah,
while she was there.
yeah.
But I guess she could have also done it the day before when he was supposedly visiting her.
Yeah, and I don't know if he wrote it or she wrote it. There was nothing in there that said like, "Oh, we looked at the handwriting samples and we confirmed it was his handwriting versus her handwriting." So I don't really know,
Jeez.
but I do believe based on the stories that are coming, I do believe that she convinced him to write it.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, poor
That kind of
Glenn.
gives you an idea of
The
how
mind
this
fuckery.
how this is going to go down for pretty much everyone.
Holy shit. That's
Yeah.
okay. Wow. I feel really bad for Glenn. Poor
I
guy.
know. I know.
That's awful.
It is really sad. I mean, and one of the things I will say is that a lot of the people that she tended to have in her group were people who were vulnerable and sad. So, like, or like, had issues with like drug abuse or some sort of loss, that were very like vulnerable to manipulation and like the connection with someone who like it seemed like she was a genuine person who was like really trying to help you, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and
So
there's
people
that.
gravitated towards her, people who maybe weren't in the best spot in their lives,
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I started there's a documentary on HBO about that girl that basically talked her boyfriend.
Yeah, into killing himself.
Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah.
honestly I started it and I couldn't finish it. I got
Yeah.
probably about 3 minutes in and I was just like, I don't think I want to
Yeah.
I
I
don't think
mean,
I want to watch it.
even like someone who mentally is very stable and healthy is susceptible to something like that. I mean, it's easy when you're constantly being fed something over and over and over again, by someone you trust, to just like kind of go down the road into believing whatever they say, which is how like abusive relationships happen, gaslighting happens, like all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's a thing like that happens a lot. And unfortunately, this I should also say that a lot of this is alleged. Like, I'm just going to say it, she was never convicted of anything.
You've got to be shitting me.
So
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Sorry,
so
my
I
dogs
have
are
to
also in the
put that
background,
in
but
here, that this is all like everything, that all these deaths surrounding this woman are like, technically I'm supposed to say she has nothing to do with them. Though you can form your own opinion, I have mine. You know.
wow. Yeah, no.
So,
It's I mean, it's compelling for sure. And I mean, knowing how people join cults and stick with cults, it's easy to see that, manipulation, that level of manipulation is possible.
yeah.
I mean, like look at Charlie Manson and the Manson murders. It's just
Mhm.
like he literally mind fucked these people
Into
into
committing
killing other
murder.
people.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yep.
it's pretty easy to see how if you can mind fuck somebody to kill somebody else, how you could do it to kill themselves too.
Yeah. Mhm. Especially with this idea of like reincarnation and this life not really meaning anything because you can just go to the next one. You know, like
Yes.
if you truly deep down believe that, it would be pretty easy to commit suicide,
Yeah. I mean,
you
it's
know?
it's kind of it's compelling if you are 100% all in
Mhm.
with the reincarnation thing. It's absolutely compelling.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. And that's just the first one.
Oh geez. Okay. All
Yeah, I'm
right.
gonna
Give me
get pretty
more. I'm
wild
ready.
here. Okay, so this is, after this story is kind of where we're gonna stop until next week.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. This one, in my opinion, is the saddest because it is the child. She's 14. Okay. I'm just
Okay.
going to put it out there. She does not survive the death train. Poor,
Oh
poor
God.
thing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So if anyone doesn't want to hear this part, you may just want to skip until the end of the podcast episode. But this one does tie into other stories. So you may want to, I'm gonna go fast. All right, it's not her death part. Okay, so
Okay.
it's, try not to get too hung up on the fact that a child is gonna die. It's awful and horrible, but there's parts of this story that are important. So you can skip if you want, though I don't recommend it.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Now that that disclaimer is out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of Terry's most devout followers was a woman named Sandy Cleaver.
Okay.
She was the Conscious Development's full-time, unpaid secretary treasurer. She was kind of her Terry's right-hand gal. Okay?
Okay.
Sandy was married. She was married to a man named Chuck, but she divorces him, claiming the same thing. She also divorces him at the same time that Terry divorces her first husband, John Wilder.
Wilder. Yeah.
John Wilder, in 1970.
Okay.
So in 1970, around the same time as Terry is having her first divorce, so this is before Glenn dies, Sandy also divorces her husband, claiming that he too was holding her back from her spiritual enlightenment and she doesn't need him in her life anymore.
Okay.
They also had a daughter, and her name was Devereaux, which I think is the coolest name ever.
That is an adorable name. Yes.
I know.
Agreed.
And it's spelled really fun. It's Devereaux.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
Devereaux. Isn't
very
that
cute.
cool?
I like it.
Yeah. So Devereaux was 7 at the time of her parents' divorce, and Sandy gains custody of Devereaux. And Chuck, I debated about putting this in here because it kind of was a little bit confusing, but Chuck didn't fight the custody over Devereaux. Like, he didn't push to have custody over her because he felt that Sandy was capable of murdering Devereaux before she would allow Devereaux to live with him.
Oh no. So he
Yeah.
basically was like, if I fight her, she
He
might
was
kill
worried
her.
that she would kill the daughter. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. So he just didn't
Oh
even
my
fight it.
God. And
Isn't that
so
sad?
okay, I don't know enough about like the laws and stuff, but I feel like that's when you need to get police involved with like, hey,
I
look,
know.
like my daughter needs to get out of there, but
I don't feel
if
her safety is,
yeah,
being, yeah.
yeah, because but then on the other hand, like if they go to court and the court rules in the mother's favor, you done fucked up and she might kill her.
Yeah, and he didn't really have any evidence of there was like no abuse or anything like that. His statement was basically that since she believed in reincarnation, she would have no trouble killing their daughter.
Yeah,
Which
which
is like a
I could see
stretch.
how that's a little bit of a stretch. Yes. Okay.
Like just because someone believes in reincarnation doesn't mean they're gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna kill my daughter because she's better off that way, being
Yeah.
reincarnated.
Yeah.
Because that's not really how most people think. But for
Yeah.
some reason, he felt like that strongly about it, so he didn't fight it,
Well, and it
which is
sounds
really
like he
sad.
was probably right, unfortunately.
Although if he had gotten custody of her, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But
I know, it's really sad. All the
yeah,
what ifs in this situation,
are just
it
mind blowing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
So anyway, that happens when she's 7. Sandy gets custody of her after the divorce. As Devereaux starts to grow into her teen years, she was really not on board with the conscious development cult thing. She was really embarrassed by it. She did not like Terri, and she did not like her mom being associated with Terri, and did not want to be a part of the group. Like, she wouldn't go to the meetings. She was not into it.
Oh my God, this poor girl.
I know. Meanwhile, though, since Devereaux was kind of pushing away, like, ew, the things that you're into are not my style,
Mm-hmm.
Sandy then started to be fearful that Devereaux may have been possessed by a dark lord.
Oh my God. Instead of it
And
being like teenage angst, she's like, great, now she's possessed.
yeah, yeah. And she was even quoted saying she has been taken over.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
And
Jeez.
Terri even encouraged this belief. She encouraged Sandy, saying that Devereaux, quote, this is an actual quote, Devereaux was spiritually attacking her, Terri. She believed that Devereaux was attacking Terri spiritually.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is like, it makes me want to throw something.
I know. Like, yeah. Terri claimed that the Dark Lord possessing Devereaux was very powerful and very negative and was attacking her.
I
And as
hate
the
her. I
cult
hate
leader,
this. No.
can't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Devereaux had also expressed mutually that her mother seemed very distant and unwilling to connect with her because her mom thought she was possessed. So
Holy
she
shit.
was like also pushing back. So both were not really having a good time with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But Devereaux was very surprised when Sandy and Sandy's new fiance invited Devereaux on a trip to Hawaii.
Sounds great.
As you do, which is
Yeah.
good. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, my mom is trying. Sandy's fiance, I should point out, was also a conscious development member, though we don't know his name.
Okay.
So anyway,
He's probably
he
like,
went.
keep me far away from this.
Well, no, he was in it.
I know, but it's like in terms of his name.
Oh, yeah, probably
Yeah.
especially after what happens.
Yeah.
So the three of them were all going to go to Hawaii together, which sounds kind of nice, right? On February 25th, 1979, While on their Hawaii vacation, Sandy and Devereaux thought it would be fun to go for a little soak in a lagoon, which sounds kind of fun.
That sounds lovely.
I know, especially because it's like there's no waves in a lagoon, and that was something that was said about this particular lagoon, is that it was very calm and there weren't really any waves there, which is why people tended to go there.
Mm-hmm.
But they thought they would just relax and get some alone time together. So the two of them went on little rafts into the lagoon while Sandy's fiance hung back on shore, though it was stated that there wasn't really like a beach there. So they don't really know why he was not floating with them. Like, they don't really know where he was because there wasn't really a place for someone to just like hang out, you know?
Yeah.
But shortly after they went out, 911 is called by Sandy's fiance, stating that they needed help in the lagoon.
Oh no.
Yes. The police get there. Sandy is retrieved alive and well. Well, not well. She's got like bruises and scrapes and stuff on her. But they couldn't find Devereaux. And unfortunately, Devereaux's body was found like hours later.
Oh
I know,
God.
like a long time later. And she had died of drowning.
Seriously?
Yes, at
Oh
age
my
14.
God.
Yeah.
That's like, mm-mm.
Super sad, right? Ugh, poor Devereaux.
Well, and the thought
Ugh.
that her mom probably drowned her is like even worse, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's horrendous when like a stranger does it, but there's something particularly awful when it's like a parent, you know?
Especially because she was literally like fed information that her daughter was possessed when she probably fucking wasn't.
No, she was a teenager and just wanted
Yeah, just
space or
being a
something.
teenager, and
Yeah.
Terry's like, your daughter's possessed. She's got to fucking go. Speculation. Speculation. Nobody in Terry's family sue me, but if I'm being honest, that's probably what fucking happened.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Ugh. So, anyway, but Sandy does survive. She gets, scrapes from the coral because there was like coral reef in the lagoon, which sounds really nice and fun and pretty.
I'm sure it's probably beautiful to
I
snorkel in,
know.
but that's awful.
Yeah. But when interviewed, Sandy tells police that a huge wave came into the lagoon and knocked them off of their rafts, and Devereaux drowned. That's basically all she says.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
I
it at
don't
all.
either. I don't either. When Chuck, her father, is phoned, he was phoned actually before they found her body, but like a conscious development follower was the one who called him. So basically, like, Sandy calls Terry or someone in the group and is like, oh my God, Devereaux drowned, I think. Will you call her dad for me? So they call Chuck. And they're
Seriously?
like, yeah, hey, I think, Devereaux might have died, but we're not really sure yet. They haven't found her body. So he's like, holy fuck, I gotta get to Hawaii like now. So
Mm-hmm.
then on the way to Hawaii, he gets another phone call that basically says, we've got something that you need to see. We have something that we have to share with you. This is very important information.
I just got anxiety. I'm nervous.
Your 14-year-old daughter had a will.
Shut the front door. Stop it.
Yeah, nope.
What kind of 14-year-old has a fucking will?
She didn't.
No,
I
right?
mean,
That's not a
we
thing.
don't know. She may have actually written it, but no.
But what? No, like seriously. Like
I know.
what 14-year-old that isn't coerced or coached into
Has a
writing a
will.
will actually writes a will?
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's just wild. And that's where it's like, how did no one see this? Especially after what it says in the will, which I'm going to read right now. It's very short. Because she's 14.
Yeah, and doesn't have like a lot of stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah. If she even wrote this. All right, quote. I give, and it doesn't make sense also because it's like probably not written by her, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Speculation, I don't know. But the verbiage doesn't make any sense for a 14-year-old to be writing.
Okay.
I give, devise, and bequeath
Okay.
all of my property, including all rights, titles, and interests of whatever character I may own in and to any property, real, personal, or mixed, wherever stated, to Terri, who has been like a second mother to me.
Stop it. Stop it. Well, and
Isn't
it's
that
like,
just...
well, and I don't know if teenagers in the 70s wrote like that,
yeah, it
but
just...
I'm
ugh.
sure that no 14-year-old in 2021 would write that.
Right.
Like, it just that doesn't make,
Any
like, I
sense.
wouldn't even write that. I'm 30
I
years
know.
old and I wouldn't even write that.
I know,
Like,
I
that
read it
that
and I'm
sounds like a
like,
lawyer
what?
wrote it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Or someone who's really good at writing fake wills.
Yes. Well, and it sounded like when it was listing, like, I bequeath this, this, and this, and this to so
Yeah.
and so, it sounded a lot like Glenn's.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of similarities.
Yep. Yep.
Fucked up. That's
I know.
so, oh my God, that's so awful.
Yeah. It's really,
Jeez.
really sad. So the other thing I would like to point out is that, because it's like, why kill Devereaux?
Yeah.
Really? Because she's 14.
It's
What
not
does
like she
she
has
have?
money. Yeah.
Well, she had a trust fund.
For real?
Yeah, she
Was it
had
like a hefty trust fund?
It was $125,000, so it was, you know,
It was pretty good, especially in the
yeah,
70s. I'm sure it
yeah,
was more.
yeah. So
Wow.
that was, I mean, that was the thing.
That
That
is
was
cult
it right
activity
there.
right there. They want access to your trust fund, your houses, your retirement, everything.
Everything. And even this 14-year-old's trust fund.
Holy shit.
Though, praise the fucking Lord,
Okay.
since she was only 14 and a minor, her will became invalid.
Oh, thank God.
I know.
Okay. I was going to say, like, how. I mean, it kind of makes sense that, like, everyone could potentially have a will, but that could also mean that, like, a baby has a will.
Yeah, like a 5-year-old could say, I'm gonna leave my unicorn collection to my mom, which is so
Yeah.
cute.
Well, yeah, well, but, like, even like an infant,
Yeah,
you
if
know,
they could
like, it's
write one,
like that
yeah.
doesn't make any sense, you know.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
it's like when you're
ridiculous.
14, you just don't even know what you're doing. So even if she was
No.
coached in writing this, she was like, I don't fucking know what this is about. Okay. My mom's telling me I need to write this will because we're traveling and that's what you do when you travel. I don't know, I guess. Sure, whatever.
Well, but you also said that she was not into this whole
Yeah, the whole like
thing.
Terri is my second mother thing, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like she was
No.
very clear that she didn't like Terri.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. So Chuck and most of, her family members basically were like, I don't know. Did Sandy really kill her daughter believing that she was possessed? And did Terri like really influence Sandy and encourage her to kill her own daughter?
Probably.
Yeah.
Speculating. Speculating.
And Chuck and her family are like, yeah, I think that is what happened.
Yeah,
But
I mean, just
her
like
death is ruled an accidental drowning.
that's so frustrating.
Yeah.
That's really frustrating.
And that's where I'm going to leave it.
No. No. I have so many questions.
Well, you can ask questions if you want, but
Well, it's just like
I just want to say though, that's where I'm going to stop today.
Yeah.
But Sandy's story is far from over.
Okay, because I wanted, because my thing is like, are we ever? I don't know. I guess is my main question is like, are we ever going to figure out, you know, what could have really happened? And like, part of me is like, if this all happened in the same state, I think there probably would have been more flags, you know, like if Glenn and Devereaux had both died in the same state and they're connected to Terry, like I feel like the police would be like, wait, this woman has two wills, two people that have died that have left everything to her, and they're not family members. Like, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it has taken place, one in Hawaii and then one somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
you know, police officers probably never connected the dots of
Yeah,
all of
I
this.
mean, there's a lot more victims to come. So yes, eventually people are like, what the frick is going on with this woman? How does she end up with all of her followers? Not all, but
Yeah.
her followers just dying very suddenly of strange things. Murder, disappearing, suicide, accidents.
Oh my God.
Like, so yes, people catch on. But like I said before, I'm just going to give some people some direction of where this is going because it's very aggravating when you're like, oh, she's going to get what's coming to her. She doesn't. She comes out of
Jeez.
this. She's dead now. She died. Natural
Well, don't go too
causes.
much farther, or else you'll give everything. Well, you won't give everything.
Well, I
away.
don't actually go into her death or anything. This is more about the victims.
Yeah, she doesn't
They
deserve
deserve
it.
that, not her.
She could
But
like.
I think she died of like natural causes or something,
No,
and it
well, I
wasn't
was
even that
hoping she like.
spectacular. But
I was hoping she got lost in the woods and was eaten by wolves or something, but
yeah,
alas.
but she's old when she dies.
Oh my God, that's so frustrating. Wow. I was like hanging on your every word on that one.
Oh, I'm so glad.
That was really fun. I mean,
Yeah.
they've all been really fun, but you know, it's just like this one was particularly tragic.
I know.
And
I wanted to clarify, like,
mhm.
the reason why I told everyone that she gets away with this pretty much is just because I don't want people to be waiting for that happy ending and then it
Yeah,
not
that's
come.
not gonna come.
It's not coming in this one, unfortunately.
Okay, but there is
You
more
know.
to the story, and you'll have to tune
But
in next
yeah, the
week.
journey is mind blowing.
Oh my gosh. Like I can't wait. Well, and I say that loosely because it's like this is a
Yeah.
horrible story.
It is
But
horrible, but it's very, very
interesting.
fascinating. And the
Yeah.
people deserve to have their stories told because, like, poor Devereaux, like, her death is just ruled as an accidental death when, honestly, that's probably not what happened. You
No.
know?
No. I'd put money on it that her mom killed her.
I know.
That's awful.
I know. It's really, really, really sad.
That's terrible. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, tune in, I guess, next week to hear the conclusion of this cult
I know. Yeah.
story.
It only gets crazier.
Oh my
Believe it or
God.
not, it gets
I kind of
crazier.
can't wait. Wow. Okay. Woo. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Okay, well, thank you for that story.
Yes.
Normally, at the end, we give whoever tells the story that week is tells the other one what the theme is for next
Yeah,
week.
so normally I would be giving Jillian her theme for next week, but since my story is so long, you get to hear my lovely voice again next week.
Yeah, it'll be good. I think it'll be really fun. Our first two-parter. I don't know how many of these we'll do, but I imagine it'll happen occasionally. So
Yeah, it just kind of depends on how much information there is on a specific topic. It might happen, it might not.
yeah, who knows?
We'll see.
All right, very cool. Well, let's see here. I'm gonna plug our social media one more time because I want to.
And 5 stars. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on your podcast app.
Yes, please rate, review, and subscribe. 5 stars, please. That would be so great. We've said it before. We're new and we need you. So help us out. Help a girl out. I was gonna say help a twins out, but that didn't really make sense. Help a girl out.
Help your friendly neighborhood twins out.
Yes. Yes, that's us. That's us. Yeah, and then let's see. Instagram, Twitter again is at Tales with Twins for both of those. We have a Facebook group, Tales with Twins podcast. Go ahead and join that and be nice to people, be kind, and we'll let you continue to be in that group. If not, you will get the boot. Yeah, and then I guess otherwise, I guess we'll just wait and see what happens next week, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's a wild ride. The death train rolls on.
Oh my God, I'm gonna be so depressed, but it's gonna be worth it. Okay, great. All right, well, we will tune in next week and we will, I guess, see you then. Bye,
Yep.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Tales with Twins. Be sure to join in next week for the conclusion of Terry's Death Train.